How's it going, folks? We got something a little bit different today, but figured I'd do a little bit of a review since I recently came across a deal I found on the interwebs. This guy right here, this E88 drone, definitely made of the highest quality parts. This guy right here was $19. That is, in my mind, and by some simple calculations, impossible to make any kind of drone that's worth anything for $19 and then ship it from California to where I am, which is very impressive. So we're going to find out if this E88 drone stacks up to this guy right here. What we have behind door number 2 is a DJI MINI 2 SE with the Fly More bundle. You got the 3 batteries and all that stuff. And by some quick calculations, beep boop beep, we got about 2,500% more expensive for this right here than this right here. Let's get this dude unboxed and see what came with it. Well, folks, you already know it's going to be good when you take the lid off and there's a warning. As a toy, it may not be as good as a professional drone. Hope it is the beginning of your dream of flying. So there you go. Already warning you, might not be the best. That's all right. They also pulled an Apple and said designed by E88 Drone in California. As you know, Apple does that with all their stuff. They say designed in California, but really they're built in China by questionably young individuals. Not ragging on you too much, Apple. You make good stuff. You do. But, you know, right behind their warning, they give you a free coloring book. Quite nice of them. And then a bunch of instructions and junk, but nobody really needs that. Here's the contents of the box. You get 2 batteries, the drone, the thing that you control with, and then whatever that is, I'm guessing it's a cord. It was, in fact, a cord, along with a little baby screwdriver and a couple extra propellers for when you inevitably wreck it into your neighbor's tree. There were also these things in there, which I'm guessing are feet, not really sure. Now, right off the bat, first thing I'm noticing here, these batteries are a wee bit small when it comes to the comparison to the DJI ones. And with the DJI, you probably get about 30 minutes if you're running full tilt boogie with it. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how long those last. Maybe if this drone's a little bit lighter and not quite as speedy, then it might do just fine. So, I guess we'll just have to find out. I would also do your own research here, but I believe you have to be under 250 grams to fly in the United States without getting a license or registering it or whatever. I am 99% sure that that is under 250 grams because the DJI Mini 2 is, and this is just about the same size and possibly lighter than the DJI. Moving right along, we got this thing out of the box. It has a similar design to the Mini in the fact that the legs fold in like that. I know a lot of smaller drones do. One of the main differences between the two is that the Mini has the legs on the back that'll flip out and these rotate out, so that's slightly different. Don't see how that's really a big deal, but you know, thought you might want to know. Alright, so getting her charged up, the controller takes 3 AA batteries. Nothing makes you feel like a 7-year-old on Christmas morning than putting AA batteries in a controller. And as you can see over here, the batteries charge directly to the battery, so that kind of sucks. You can only charge one at a time if you only got the one cord, versus the Mini 2 comes with convenient charger. So you can charge all 3 of these batteries at the same time. Well, I think it's about time we quit the jib-jabbing. So here we got a garage full of many various dangerous obstacles that we could crash into. Perfect spot for a first test flight. So we got her fired up. We got one of those batteries somewhat charged up, and let's see if it's controllable enough to not hit a John Deere and a KTM dirt bike. All right, didn't read the instructions, so gonna try to figure this out. I'm just gonna push the stick up, see what happens. Oh. All right, so she's spinning. Oh, and it turned off. So I guess if you push the stick up, that turns on the doodad, and then I think if you hold it up, it might take off. So let's give it a shot. Okay, we're airborne. Okay, there is no, discovering now that there is no, like, there's no teasing the up and down. It's either full up or nothing. So it's just, nyeh, nyeh, nyeh. I think you can trim these things in a little bit. So we're obviously going the wrong direction. Oh, it's wanting to fly that way pretty bad, so let's try to trim it and not let it do that. Okay, it's staying pretty stable now. Not quite as stable as the DJI. The DJI will not move a wink, so that's pretty slick. Back in here. Oh. Oh. Okay, just hit something and it didn't go down immediately, so that's good. You got a couple, it's actually pretty resilient there, fairly impressive. It is not a fast drone by any means, I can already tell, but that's all right. Probably don't want a super speedy drone that has very little controllability. All right, well, let's try to land this thing. Oh. All right. Hey. That wasn't the worst thing I've ever done. Alright folks, now's the point in the video where I get some in-flight footage. I take these guys out to the farm, fly them around. I didn't get any ground footage of them flying because I forgot to bring my tripod, of course. That would be typical. Anywho, in actuality, I started out with the cheaper drone, flying it around and getting some footage, but let me just tell you firsthand, that footage was so terrible that I feel like I had to start with the DJI so you have something to compare that terrible footage with. So, without further ado, let's get the DJI up in the air and take a look at what it can do. Alright, so this first view here is what you see on the FPV side of the drone. So this is what you've got on your phone screen, which you connect to the controller. It's got a lot of information shown there. You can see the map on the bottom left-hand corner that kind of keeps track of where you're going, because this thing can go so far away you'll definitely lose sight of the drone, and that map makes it a little bit handy to get it back to where you are or to be able to navigate if you lose your location or sense of direction, any stuff like that. On the bottom right hand corner you can see how much storage you got on your SD card, which you put in the drone. You can control your resolution of the video that you take if you take a video, or your camera settings. And then on the far right, you've got the red button to take a video. You've got your other settings for the camera controls. So there's a lot of controls and display features and all that kind of stuff on this screen. Top right, you got that very top right of the display is the satellites. That's the amount of satellites you're connected to. That kind of changes as you fly, and that just kind of shows how good your signal is, along with the signal bar on the left. And then the green numbers there and the little ring, that's how much battery you have left, so that's kind of nice to know. Once you get down to about, I think it's 25% battery life, it's going to start warning you need to fly back to the home point. And then again, going back to the far left, you've got that little helicopter landing sign. You got a bunch of features to help you land without wrecking into anything, which is always pretty cool. It's good to not wreck your drone, especially a more expensive one. Anywho, basically what I'm trying to say, you got a lot of features. If you want to learn more about those features, you can check out the other video I posted about the DJI. Kind of posted a little bit of a review and some test flight footage, all that kind of stuff. But we're not really here to compare that now. We're just kind of here to compare the quality drone versus the poo drone. So, without further ado, let's take this thing off and see what the controls look like.
Takeoff. Home point updated.
Alright, so you can see I took off here. On the bottom, you can see how quick we are gaining height. It shows your speeds. Your H is your height off the ground, of course, and then the D is the distance from the home point in terms of navigational distance, horizontal, whatever you want to call it. You can change that to meters or whatever, but right now I've got mine set in feet because that's what makes sense to me. You can see I moved the map around a little bit. You got different options for the map, and then I shrunk it down there to get it out of the way. The FPV on this is also very snappy, so the delay is very short, so you can definitely fly it just out of the FPV. You don't need to be looking between the drone and the FPV to try to make sure that you don't have delay, and you're going to try to stop based on the FPV, and then the drone doesn't stop and hits a tree or something like that. So basically, again, bragging about the DJI You can see I can get pretty close to the ground here and not have too much worries about controllability. And of course, the footage is extremely stable. You can see that little notification popped up telling me that the flight angle at whatever. Basically, I just put it in sport mode, and you can see already I can go a lot faster when I'm in sport mode. I'm almost going 30 miles an hour. The controls turning around here, very smooth. Everything looks good. And yeah, again, just trying to emphasize how good everything looks through the FPV on this DJI. And of course, your FPV is the same footage that you're going to get when you decide to record. So let's take a look at some recorded footage and just get an idea what that looks like. So here we are switched over to the recorded footage. You can see it did away with all those control things. Again, those control things, I'm just screen recording the iPhone that I'm using to do the FPV. So the footage is a lot clearer when you go to the recorded mode. It's 1080p in this example, and of course you can change those settings, make it, I think, 2.4K or whatever. Anywho, again, just looks very good, very stable. You can make it more stable if you go into the slower mode or the cinema mode, and then faster again if you're in sport mode. So without further ado, after looking at this better stuff, let's look at the cheaper drone. And so you guys can get a little bit better idea what 400 and some more dollars for a drone will get you. And let me warn you, it is drastic. All right, here we are in the cheap drone. You can see I'm just now taking off, and that footage, let's be honest, is not good. This is the control screen again, so this is just a screen recording of the iPhone that I had hooked up to the controller. I think you can control it off the iPhone. I'm guessing that's what those thingies are on the screen. But anywho, it is super shaky. The only reason it leaned down there is because I was throttling the drone forward. I don't know that there's any gimbal control. Maybe there is, but anywho, oh, there's an ESPN notification. So there you go. That's proof it was a recording. And here you can see it is extremely choppy. This is all live. I'm not pausing the recording or anything like that. I noticed that once you get out to about 60, 70 yards away from the home point, it gets choppy. So I turned around, started to head back because I did not want it to fly into a crowd of starlings or something and be attacked by birds. So again, very difficult to control, not snappy. It was kind of going wherever it wanted to. In the wind, the DJI will control itself in the wind. This will not, so you got to trim it or adjust. Anywho, it's not fun. Let's go look at some recorded footage and see if it's any better. And would you believe it or not, it is not any better. It looks just about the same, and there's a good reason for that. It is just footage that is recorded straight to the iPhone. It doesn't have a place to put in an SD card as far as I can tell, so you're basically just getting what is streamed to the iPhone as your footage. Anywho, I'm not going to rag on it too much. There's me right there leaning up against the truck in my sick sweater. I'm not going to rag on it too much. The thing was $20, so it's honestly kind of impressive that they can build anything that can fly for $20, so I can't really complain too much, even though it has limited features and the footage isn't very good. It's basically what they said in the packaging. It's a toy, alright? If you want to get to learn to fly, maybe not the worst idea to get something $20, and if it ends up crashing into something, it's not the end of the world. Which is probably what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to intentionally crash it into a couple shotgun shells or something like that. But anywho, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you appreciate me doing a little research video for you. And I will see you in the next one. Let me know if you guys want to see anything else. And just a couple real quick words of wisdom here at the end. If you're going to get something for filming, or if that's your goal is to be able to get something that is easy to control, get some good pictures and videos with, definitely go with something like the DJI MINI at least. That's one of their cheaper lines. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I did pick one up because I thought it would improve the quality of my videos, and so far I am very impressed with how it runs, how it flies, the recordings, all that stuff. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.